Fox 28 Sports with Mia O'Brien.
When they went 12-0 during the regular season in 2015, head Hawk Kirk Ferentz noted the fine line between a 7-5 squad and how easily things could change. Well, how quickly things have changed in 2016. After an upset loss at the hands of Northwestern, Iowa has been left with plenty of questions to answer before a 2-week road trip. C.J. Beathard was sacked 6 times. Penalties were a major factor again. And the worst part of it all, much of it is self-inflicted.
The defense is playing hard and they're getting stops, but then we're going 3 and out. So I think it's on us as an offense. We have complete control over it. It's just the drive killers. It's the penalties and it's the sacks, and I think it kills the momentum.
I think it's a little bit of everything, quite frankly. Our protection has not always been what it needs to be. Sometimes it looks like there's nothing happening. There's no rhythm or tempo to it, and we're holding the ball back there, and that's not a good thing either. So, we're going to be in those situations. We'll probably have to come up with better ways maybe of getting the ball out quicker.
Out Route 30 to our west, Iowa State fell to Baylor in its Big 12 home opener yesterday, but there were positives to be drawn. For starters, the Cyclones scored on their first 6 possessions, and junior quarterback Joel Lanning was nearly unstoppable on 3rd down. So perhaps the ceiling might be a bit higher than previously anticipated in Ames.
What I was so disheartened in the early part of the season is our lack of execution. It wasn't that we didn't have good players. It was, our functionality was painful. You talk about Joel, I think maybe in the first half of the game might have been 7 of 7 on 3rd down, and I think the credit's got to go to our kids.
The last two weeks we've known that we can put up points. So now there's that standard where we have to, execute to that level every week, and we can definitely do that.
Northern Iowa knew coming into 2016 that they would have to rely on their veteran offense, led by dual threat QB Aaron Bailey and running back Tyvis Smith. Who Bailey would be throwing to, well, that was sort of in the air. And, yesterday, junior wide receiver Doris Fountain was flying high. 3 touchdowns on 5 receptions as the Panthers topped the 40-point mark for the first time this year. It wasn't much of a surprise to Fountain and his team, though, who say that this didn't happen overnight.
We felt like Reese was able to get space and create a more passing game from there. He's a great receiver. I'm happy to have him. He's a character. Don't get me wrong.
Oh man, he's giving me too much credit. It just took that extra effort of just staying after practice and just getting our timing down and just practicing just the little things over and over. We always had this chemistry with us. We just had to let it show.
Still to come, we break down the Saturday that was for all 3 Iowa teams with former Hawk Lou Montgomery and where they go from here. We'll be right back on Fox Sports Sunday. And welcome back into Fox Sports Sunday. We're now joined by former Iowa Hawkeye and current Fox 28 sports analyst Lou Montgomery. Lou, let's dive right into this, beginning with those Hawkeyes. Again, another struggling week, their 2nd loss on the year, their 2nd loss at home. Let's just get right to it. What happened?
Yeah. Well, this is an Iowa team that has obviously gone under a lot of pressure the last couple of weeks. And what we're finding from Iowa City is that this team just isn't playing the type of football that we're expecting. Obviously, there's a lot of investment that went into this year's team. There's a lot of high expectations, and they're under-delivering. I don't know if it's their run defense that's really struggling or if it's the passing game is not getting going with Vandenberg being out. But CJ and Desmond King, those are the 2 top leaders on this football team. And until those 2 guys can really step up and take control of this football team, they're just not going to be able to play with the kind of unity that they need to continue in a much tougher schedule looking ahead.
That Big Ten schedule, it only gets tougher. So if Northwestern isn't the best team this Hawks team will face, what are their chances going forward?
Well, I can guarantee you that this Minnesota team that's coming up has Iowa circled on their calendar. Obviously, they're playing for Florida Rosedale. That's going to be a big game. It's going to be on the road. Iowa right now just has to get their composure back. They're totally playing uncharacteristic of what they've been able to do very successfully, and that's being able to stay calm in pressure situations. They just can't do that heading into the remainder of the Big Ten.
And those trophy games, ever important. Let's jump over to Iowa State out in Ames. The Cyclones do lose yesterday. They lose Heartbreaking fashion, Lou. Last-minute field goal, but it was to the number 13 team in the country. It was to Baylor. So was it really a loss for the Cyclones?
Actually, this was really nice performance by Iowa State, even though it was a loss. What I like about Iowa State is we're seeing a progression in their ability to play. One of the things that I talked about earlier in the year is that Iowa State just could not put together a complete 4 quarters. We saw them put together 3 very flawless quarters against a very good Baylor football team. So this team is making progress.
And it was a quarterback carousel coming into yesterday between Jacob Park and Joel Lanning. Doesn't seem like that's the case anymore. For you, Lou, after his performance yesterday, is Joel Lanning's job safe?
I think he is. I think at this juncture of the season, you have to stay with Lanning. He's been hot. He's got some hot receivers. And really what it's about is sustaining that momentum and having that consistency. And when you start playing with that formula too much, it could be disastrous. I say stick with him.
Last but not least, let's take it up to Cedar Falls with Mark Farley and the Panthers. The big issue coming into this one, much like the Cyclones, Lou, was finishing. 2 straight fourth-quarter tough losses for the Panthers, but they obviously finished yesterday. For you, what was most impressive?
What was most impressive was obviously UNI's defense was able to hold SIU to just 70 yards on the ground. Their defense stepped up and played extremely well. I was also impressed with Darius Fountain's ability to catch 3 TDs. He caught for over 98 yards there. So this UNI offense is starting to click. Their defense is starting to click as well. And this unit is beginning to really gel.
Jumping back to that offense, Lou, Aaron Bailey, second season under center. He said following the game that the year that he's had to work with Darius Fountain, to work with Tyvis Smith and the rest of the running backs has really helped him. But still, this offense, can they take it to another level?
Well, absolutely, they can take it to another level, and they can take it to another level because Bailey continues to run the rock. He's not only an effective passer, but he can also do it with his feet, and that's what's been the defining factor for him is he's been able to run the ball as well as pass the ball very effectively.
Mark Farley loves those dual-threat quarterbacks as well. They're also on the road for the next 2 weeks against a very strong Missouri Valley Football Conference schedule. It's considered one of the best, if not the best, in the FCS, Lou. What is it that makes this conference so tough? And what do the Panthers have to do to overcome it?
Well, I think they just got to stick with what they do well. I mean, they've been obviously clicking well. I think they stay with their defense. And I think this conference is so tough because you have an array of different teams that play at a high level. And if they continue to do that, UNI will continue to sustain what they've been able to accomplish so far.
We'll see how it pans out. He's Lou Montgomery, Fox 28 sports analyst. We'll be right back after this. Winless and with more than a handful of starters sidelined with injury, John Fox's squad hosting Detroit today, and with starting quarterback Jay Cutler still sidelined, hip hip Hoyer! Brian Hoyer under center this afternoon. No score first quarter. Hoyer scrambling. Hoyer finding the ageless Eddie Royal on the goal line. Bears go up 7-0. The offense rolling, and so was the defense. Jumped to the fourth, up by 11. Second pick of the day for Chicago. Familiar face hauling in that one. UNI grad DeAndre Hall, first of his NFL career. The Lions, though, did have a chance late. Less than 2 minutes to go. Andre Roberts on the return. The legs keep churning, and no one able to bear down on this guy. Roberts brings it all the way home. 2-point conversion, good. We got ourselves a bowl game. However, the onside kick, no good. Bears hold on to win by a field goal. They're first on the season as that offense finally gets rolling. Head coach John Fox after the game.
I think we executed. I think had been our problem in the first 3 games that we had that we didn't execute for 60 minutes. I think our O-line blocked much better both in the run and the pass. Brian's kind of moved the ball around quite a bit as far as receiver use.
We got a little bit more of 2 high looks than we thought, and that allowed us to run the ball. And then when they came down into single high, we were able to throw it a little bit better. So I think just like I said, the balance of the offense, you keep the defense on their toes.
Quick check of the score from tonight's game in prime time. It's not looking too good for KC. Down 36-0 in the third quarter to Pittsburgh. The regular season finale on the diamond today, and crunch time for St. Louis as the Birds not only needed a win, but a Giants loss to sneak into the playoffs and keep a streak of 5 straight postseason appearances intact. 6th inning, down 1, Matt Carpenter unloads off Antonio Bastardo. Rise up, Busch Stadium. St. Louis in front by 2. Tied, though, in the 7th inning. Stephen Piscotty, unfazed, drops that one into short center. Yadier Molina chugging along the bases for the go-ahead score, but it was all for naught. A Giants win sends San Fran to the NL wild card. Cards do win, though, 10-4. The Cubs already in that NL playoff picture, so usual cast of characters sitting out the finale, but the young guns were unafraid. Wilson Contreras crushes one to deep center, cutting the lead to 1 as the Cubs mount the comeback. Same score, 9th inning. Matt Scherzer doesn't hit it further, but that's still going to score 1. And here comes Kawasaki. The go-ahead run is in time. Cubs finish off the regular season with a 7-4 win. Twins and the White Sox at soon-to-be guaranteed Lone Field. You know what's never guaranteed? An inside-the-park home run. But former Cedar Rapids Colonel Byron Buxton is going to try his luck. Ball drops past a jumping Lori Garcia, bouncing around the warning track. Buxton's kicking it up a notch. Makes it to the cutoff man well after he's crossed home. Anybody have a stopwatch there? 1-0 Mini. Miguel Sano would add a 3rd inning old-fashioned home run. 5-0 Twins. They take this one 6-3. Granted, it's held every 2 years, but the United States hasn't won a Ryder Cup since 2008, which, when you consider the iPhone, One Direction, and all-day breakfast at McDonald's didn't exist then, yeah, that makes that stretch feel a little bit longer. The Americans stepped up to the spotlight and the rowdy crowds in Minnesota. Zach Johnson on 15. Cue the bird dance. Birdie for ZJ as he wins his match 4-3. Tell him where you're from. Cedar Rapids. On 18. John Deere Classic champ Ryan Moore with 3 putts to clinch the cup. It's not in, but hey, it's enough. Moore wins 1 up. USA wins the 2016 Ryder Cup. That's all for Fox Sports Sunday. Thanks for sticking around with us. Have a great night.